Hello everyone, welcome to today's Wake Up and Stretch Flow with me. We're going to start today in Happy Baby or Ananda Balasana. Happy Baby is a really nice way to start our day and just come and be nice and grounded. We are going to start by grabbing on to the pinky toe side of each foot, flexing our feet and bringing them up towards the ceiling. You might like to rock side to side, gently massage your lower back into your mat. Make sure that you're really pressing your shoulder blades down and opening up through the collarbones. Some people prefer to grab under the knee and reach around for a bit of a deeper stretch. I personally find that a little bit restricting on my chest, but you can give it a go if you'd like. I apologise, my dog really wanted to be involved in this video. Taking a few nice deep breaths here, setting our intention for our practice, whatever that may be for you today. Just take a moment to really come into the now. Alright, let's get nice and warm. We're going to start off by activating our core and our abdomen with some toe taps. So here I'm drawing my belly button into my spine. My feet are flexed and I'm just reaching up and trying to tap my toes. Demonstrating an easier option here with the knees bent or not tapping all the way up to the toes. You want to keep your chin nice and tucked into your chest so we're not overstretching through the neck. You should really feel this through the top of your abs, and we're exhaling on the hardest part, which for me is coming up. Warming up through the belly, getting that prana, getting that chi and that energy flowing. And then rolling out through the spine, finishing off where you are. Hug the knees into the chest. Now we're going to take our arms nice and wide, or bring them into cactus arms if you're limited for space. We're going to turn the tummy on and start to bring the knees together, and then slowly drop them over to one side, bring them back through the center, and drop them towards the other side. Keeping our hip of the side that we're going towards on the ground, so it's not a full twist, it's nice and controlled, using our transverse abdominis, so that side part of our abs. If you'd like a harder option, you can extend one leg. You can keep the knees together and just extend the leg, or you can take that leg all the way down to the ground and again add in a bit of a leg raise as well. If you are a bit more advanced in your practice, you might like to try straightening both legs as you extend out to the side. However, please don't feel any pressure to do this. As you can see, I only demonstrate it once and I don't go very far down. So let's keep going wherever you may be, whichever option feels best for you. Remember, you don't have to extend the leg, you're still getting that workout and that muscle activation without the extension. We're almost finished here, so keep breathing through it. Keep that tummy nice and tight. Draw the belly button in, suck the rib cage down to your mat. And last one here. Hugging the knees into the chest and rolling out the back. We're going to take it into some glute bridges now. We want to make sure we're nice and flat on our mat. Our tummy is drawn down, belly button in towards the spine, rib cage down. Flare out those shoulder blades, and then we're going to squeeze our bottom, activating our pelvic floor and lift up to the ceiling. Making sure the knees don't splay out to the sides. We slowly lower down. Reset the muscles. let's reactivate and come on back up. Check that your hip bones are nice and in line, making sure we're not tilting one way or the other, and lowering back down. Squeeze your bottom, activate that pelvic floor, pushing up. When we activate our pelvic floor, we want to think about as if we're doing a zipper up from the bottom of our pelvis up towards our ribs. So you want to zip up as you squeeze and lift. Take these at your own pace. Don't feel as though you need to stay in time with me. If you prefer to hold them a little bit longer, you're more than welcome to. Bridges are a really great way to work our glutes and our pelvic floor at the same time. Our pelvic floor is really important, especially as we get older or after childbirth, to help prevent things like incontinence. Alright, we've got 3 to go here. And coming back down. 2 to go, lift on up. Keep that engagement going. Coming down. And last one, we're going to come up and we're going to hold for 10 seconds. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And nice and slow, lowering down, hugging it out. Squeeze your knees in. You might like to lift your head up towards your knees too. Alright, what I want you to do now is come onto all fours. We're going to stack the hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, and we're going to come through our cat and cow or happy cat, angry cat. Taking a breath in before we start, and then we exhale up into cat pose. So we stretch up our shoulders up towards the ceiling, tuck the chin to the chest, and then we inhale down to cow pose. We bring our hips and our head up and squeeze the shoulder blades towards your bottom. Working with your own breath here, I want you to do about 10 rotations. So coming into your cow pose and coming into your cat pose. You might like to go through some rotations like I'm demonstrating here. So this is a little bit more fluid and less rigid. We're activating each part of the spine here, working through each segment, and you can also make it a little bit deeper by bending the arms, or you can stick with your traditional cat and cow. Do whatever feels best for your spine and makes you feel the most energized. Working with your breath, keeping it nice and steady. Coming back to a nice neutral spine, we're going to add in a little opposite arm to leg. So we're going to reach on out, opposite arm to leg, and then squeeze it in, crunching into the tummy. So I've started on my right hand, left leg, and we draw it in, bringing elbow to knee, and then stretching back out. We want to try and get our foot in line with our bottom and our hand in line with our shoulder, so we're making a nice stable platform. If you'd like the added challenge, you can take it into tiger pose. We reach our arm back to our foot, holding on at the foot, the ankle, the calf, and we stretch it up to the ceiling. And now let's reset and get ready to do the other side. We're going to do 3 rounds of our cat and cow. So remembering exhaling when we're in our cow pose, inhaling as we come up to our cat pose. Working wherever feels best for you. Let's take our left arm and right leg now. You can either flex your foot or point your toes, just making sure your bottom is squeezed and activated. Reach it out and let's squeeze it in, reaching out and squeezing in. Again, working at your own pace. Don't feel the pressure to try and keep up with me. This class is for you and not for me, so just take it at your own pace. And once again, if you'd like a challenge and you'd like to take it into tiger pose or vigorasana, go ahead and reach that hand back to your foot, opening up the shoulder, opening up the hip, and then releasing back to center. Taking it back into our cat pose and down into our cow pose again. All of the poses that we're doing this morning are designed to help you energize and really set yourself up for the best day possible. When we stretch our back in this way, we are going through our chakras, which are running through our spine, releasing some energy or prana. We're going to take a little breather here and come into child's pose, opening up the knees, sitting your feet back. You might like to also reach your hands back to your feet, whatever's most comfortable for you. Let's take 3 nice deep breaths, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. We're going to come on up now, coming onto all fours and then tucking the toes under. We're going to push up into our downward facing dog. We want to have our back nice and flat, so if that means bending the knees, please go ahead and do that. We're going to walk our feet out, just stretch out through the calves, feel that stretch through the hamstrings, trying to keep our back as flat as possible. Shift your gaze to look through your legs or at your knees, and then holding it in your downward facing dog, building strength through the shoulders, and slowly, one leg at a time, let's walk forward to the front of our mat to set ourselves up for our sun salutations or Surya Namaskar. Super slow, one vertebrae at a time, we're going to roll on up, slowly, slowly coming up. Last thing that comes up is your head. Having our feet either hip width apart or feet together, hands by your side in that anatomical position. Take a deep breath in, reach the arms overhead to come into extended mountain pose, and then swan dive, exhale down to forward fold. Inhale into flat back extension. Inhale, step the right leg back, left leg forward in a lunge, looking forwards and taking it back to plank pose. And then we drop down to our knees to come through our Chaturanga Dandasana. We want to squeeze our elbows in and then shift it through into upward facing dog or cobra pose. Tuck the toes, inhale up to downward facing dog. Lifting the leg into 3-legged dog and bringing it through into a lunge with our opposite leg forward, so right leg forward this time. And then we're going to take it back into our plank position, squeezing the tummy, elbows in, Chaturanga Dandasana, scooping through to cobra pose or upward facing dog. Tuck the toes, we come up into downward facing dog. Left leg comes up to 3-legged dog, bringing it forwards into a lunge. Right leg comes forwards, feet together, forward folds. Inhaling up to flat back extension. And exhaling down to forward fold. And then big inhale up, reaching the arms all the way up to extended mountain pose. That was our first round. Let's start off our second round. Swan dive down into forward fold. Inhaling halfway up to flat back extension and exhaling back down. This time, let's take our left leg back into a lunge, right leg forwards, and shooting both legs back into downward dog, onto our knees for chaturanga. Then coming straight up into cobra pose or upward facing dog, which is the option I'm demonstrating there, with my toes tucked under and thighs off the ground. Pushing back up into downward dog. We then lift the left leg up to 3-legged dog and step it forwards, left leg into a lunge. Stepping back into plank pose, coming down through Chaturanga Dandasana, taking your time. Scoop through into cobra or upward facing dog. Inhaling in, downward dog. Right leg to three-legged dog and bringing it forwards, right leg forwards lunge. And left leg comes to join, forward folds. Inhaling in, halfway, flat back extension. Exhaling out, forward folds. Inhaling in, all the way up, extended mountain pose. Bringing our hands down to heart center, taking 3 nice deep breaths in here. And then bringing your hands down to your side for mountain pose. We're going to keep our left leg forward, step our right leg back. We cup the foot to come to the pinky toe side, bending the left leg and then bringing the arms in line with the shoulders to come into Warrior Two. We want to make sure our pelvis is nice and stable here, not bending back or bending forwards. You can keep your gaze straight ahead of you, looking down the arm, or you can look forwards in line with the torso if it feels better for your neck. We're going to take it into Sun Warrior now, flipping that front hand, the left hand, reaching it overhead and reaching the right arm back down the leg into Sun Warrior. Holding here, keeping the breath steady, we exhale back into Warrior Two. And then we transition into side angle by bringing the left arm down to the left thigh, right arm straight up diagonally above the head. We want to chase that line from the toes all the way up to the right hand. Inhaling back to Warrior, exhaling to Sun Warrior. Exhaling to Warrior. Inhaling to side angle. Now you can stay here if you'd like, or if you'd like a bit more of a challenge and a bit more of a fluid flow, we can dance our Warrior out. As I'm demonstrating here, I'm flowing between reverse Warrior or Sun Warrior and side angle pose, nice and freely. Just limbering up through my sides, keeping the legs nice and deep, supporting me here. Tummy and bottom is engaged the whole time, working with your breath. And last one, we come into our side angle pose and hold. If you'd like a harder option, you might like to extend that right arm down the leg, or you can keep it on the thigh, keeping the chest nice and open and revolved. Let's unravel through here, coming down through our lunge, stepping the feet together, forward fold. Now it is time for a quick drink break. When you're ready, you can join me back on your mat with your feet together or hip width apart at the top of your mat, all ready to do the other side. Rolling the shoulder blades back and down, we start in mountain pose. Inhaling in up to extended mountain pose. This time we're stepping the left leg back, right leg forwards. Arms come in line with the shoulders. We come into our Warrior Two, keeping the torso facing directly forward so our hips are nice and square. We try to not stick the bottom out too much here, or don't lean back. Keeping this position, Warrior pose is named after the fierce warrior Virabhadra, who is said to symbolize our inner ability to overcome our ego and ignorance. We're going to flip that up into our Sun Warrior now. Hand comes overhead, opposite arm reaches down the leg. Nice and strong and fierce, just like our warrior. Taking it back to Warrior Two, looking straight down the line, keeping nice and deep in the legs. Make sure your wrist stays in line. I often do weird things with my wrists in this position, but just keeping that alignment, being really purposeful in our movement. Reaching over into side angle pose. Feeling that stretch all the way from the toes up to the arm above the head. If it's not comfortable for you to reach your arm diagonal, you can just reach it straight up to the ceiling. Coming back into Warrior Two now. Take a nice breath in, take it back to Sun Warrior. And on your next exhale, coming back to warrior two. Inhaling in, let's take it to side angle pose. Keeping that line. Hello blade. And back to warrior two, keeping the depth through the legs. Let's start to dance out our warrior, or you can continue to flow from sun warrior to side angle at your own pace. Moving with your breath, or whatever feels best for your body. For me, it feels really nice to flow through this quite quickly. It feels fluid and helps me feel energized for the day ahead. And last rotation here, and then coming back into our side angle pose and holding. And unwind the arms, coming through your lunge, step the feet together, forward fold. Inhaling to flat back extension, exhaling to forward fold, and inhaling up, extended mountain pose. Come and join me now on your mat in child's pose. We're going to take a little rest break. Once again, opening up the knees, or you might like to have your knees closer together. If you can't get your head on the ground, no need to worry. We're just here to reset and ground before the next part of our practice. Take a moment to catch your breath. Really feel the nuances of the breath, and taking 3 more breaths. And then slowly coming up and onto your belly. We're going to really activate through our spine now, starting off with what I like to call cobra rolls. We bring our hands to the midline of our chest, squeezing the elbows in. Feet are hip width apart. I tuck my chin into my chest and I roll up 1 vertebrae at a time. And then I come down 1 vertebrae at a time. You don't need to add the hair flick in, it was just covering my face. Take it nice and slow, working with your breath. I like to inhale on the way up and exhale on the way down. It's a really nice fluid movement to get right into each part of your spine, unlocking that stored energy. Doing 3 more rolls at your own pace, and then on the 3rd one we're going to hold up in our cobra pose. In our cobra pose, we want to make sure our tummy is engaged, our bottom is squeezed to protect our lower back. We bring the shoulder blades back and down like you're trying to crack a nut, and we look straight ahead rather than tilting our head all the way back. Unlock the elbows, keep the breath steady, and only come up as high as is comfortable for you. Holding there. And nice and slow, 1 vertebrae at a time, rolling down. Stacking the arms under your head now, we're going to work our bottom and our legs. Starting off by lifting the legs, squeezing your bottom as hard as you can, pushing your pelvis into the ground. We use our bottom to help lift our feet and knees off the ground. You can have your toes pointed or flexed, whatever helps you feel more engaged through the legs. Inhaling on the way down and exhaling to help you with that lift. If you need a bit of assistance here, you can take your legs further apart. If you'd like it to be harder, try and bring your feet closer together. Making sure we're not putting any pressure on our lower back, staying at your level. Keep the tummy engaged, bottom squeezes. And lifting the legs. And bringing them down. We're going to take it into bow pose or Dhanurasana now. We reach both arms back towards our feet, grabbing on wherever we can. I like to grab onto the outside of my ankles on the pinky toe side. I lift my head, squeeze my bottom, squeeze my shoulder blades back, engage through my tummy, and then we want to lift up our chest and knees off the ground. Think like you're trying to turn yourself inside out, flexing the feet to keep the legs nice and active, and then lowering down. Knees together, just rocking the legs side to side to loosen out through the lower back. If bow pose doesn't feel right for you, I encourage you to either go back to cobra pose, or you can go back to those leg lifts, and I want you to do 6 more. Coming up for another bow pose, engaging the muscles, tummy and bottom are the first thing that engage. Then we squeeze the shoulder blades and lift the head, gently lifting the chest. If you can't come up that high, please remember that I've been practicing yoga for a long time, so try not to compare your chapter 1 to someone else's chapter 20. And let's roll onto our back, hug our knees into our chest and roll it out. Loosening out through that spine, squeeze the knees in. And now, keeping your left leg in, stretching your right leg out, let's just isolate that part of the spine, drawing the knee to chest. And taking a few breaths here while we unwind our spine. And then on your next exhale, let's swap on over sides, squeezing the right leg in, dropping the left leg down. Feel that gentle opening through the front of the hip on the outstretched leg, and curling up through the lower back and the sacrum of the bent leg. Let's release that leg down. We have 2 options now for our next pose. The first option is to just lift the legs into the air. You might like to bob a pillow or your hands underneath your hips just to give you a little bit more leverage. Our second option is to come into a shoulder stand. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn my tummy on, I'm going to rock up and catch my hips, and my legs go up into the air. I'm squeezing my belly button and my ribs back towards my spine, so my back is nice and strong here. My core is activated, my legs are straight, and I'm holding here. Nice and strong in our shoulder stand, letting that blood flow down to the head, aiding in lymphatic drainage. And if you'd like, you can come over into halasana, which also helps to reduce stress and aid in digestion. So I take my legs all the way up and over my head. And if you want even more of a stretch, you can bend your knees in and really curl up through the spine. This is probably one of my favourite ways to end my physical practice. And wherever you are, let's roll down into happy baby, just like we started, grabbing onto the pinky toe side of the feet. And taking a few nice deep breaths here. Rolling out the spine if you'd like, hugging the knees into the chest. And as we come to the end of our practice, we're going to move into Shavasana or corpse pose. You might like to keep your knees bent if your back is feeling a little bit tight. Otherwise, you can take the arms out wide or into cactus arms. Legs go long. If though you are feeling like that's not really the right option for you and that you might fall back asleep, feel free to come on up into a seated position for our last bit of meditation together. I'm going to stop talking for a moment so you can really clear your mind. I'd encourage you to unclench your jaw, drop your shoulders back and down, and just focus on being one with the breath, Noticing the inhale and the exhale, feeling the rise and fall of the chest, and just being here now. Drawing your awareness back into your body, back into the space. Taking a nice big breath in through the nose and out through the mouth. Starting to wriggle the feet, wriggle the fingers, moving the head side to side. Just something gentle to help you reawaken. Rolling the head, shifting the shoulders back and down. If you're laying down, come on up into a seated position, nice and slow. And we'll take a final couple of pranayama breaths together. Inhaling in, reaching the arms above the head. And exhaling down to heart center. Inhaling in, reaching up. And exhaling out. And one last time, inhaling in, arms come above the head. Exhaling down, hands together, bringing your hands up to your third eye chakra. May we have kind thoughts towards ourselves and others, bringing your hands down to your lips. May we speak words of gratitude, kindness and love. And then bringing your hands down to heart center, may we open our heart to receive all of the greatness in the universe and really enjoy our day. Namaste. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you next time.